Happy Super Bowl Friday. We got 72 hours till, as they say in the business, the toe meets the leather. Jim Williams here, along with Amedeus, and our buddy Garrett Ballard joins us. Good to have you, Garrett. Always good to see you, Amedeus. And here we are on the Friday before the Super Bowl. Can there be more hype?
Probably not.
I think Rich Eisen started the pregame show about 10 minutes ago. So yeah, we got a lot going on this time around.
Yeah, like I mentioned yesterday, no one pays attention to the Pro Bowl, so it's just 2
right.
weeks, 2 weeks of hyping it up.
Right, taking it going. Garrett, as we get ready for the game, I mean, I know that you've covered the Bucs for us, but you will follow the league. As we get ready for the Super Bowl, what are some of the things you're looking for?
I mean, I think the first thing that kind of stands out is the Kansas City high-flying offense against this just well-rounded Eagles defense. I mean, the Eagles might have top to bottom the most complete defense in the league. In Kansas City, we know that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes put together as a dangerous duo. So I think that matchup, just whenever those two are out in the field going against each other, is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Amedeus, what's anything that you're looking at?
Yeah. One thing I think you got to do is really drown out the outside noise with this game, because there's a lot of storylines they want to try and shove in your face, like Andy Reid playing his own team, first time 2 black quarterbacks in the finals. So, obviously we got the Jalen Hurts story with the guy went through hell in college and then earned his way on to. So that's a great storyline. There's always so many great storylines. You can pick the Brother Bowl if you want to call it that too, right? Like, so this is what I mean is there's always so many storylines. The best thing to do when betting on the game is you just gotta drown out everything and try to pay attention to the stats, the teams, what you've seen from them all year.
The thing that I'm going to look for, I mean, Mahomes has the high ankle sprain. Normally, depending upon the situation, over 2 weeks, unless it's a severely badly sprained, he should be fine. But if he isn't, one of the things that Andy Reid is known for is snap and get rid of the ball. I mean, they'll try to run, but get rid of the ball as fast as possible. And that's where these wide receivers who got dinged up in the championship game are going to be crucial to Kansas City moving the ball on, as you said, Garrett, probably the best defense in the National Football League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking, like you said, that high ankle sprain might play a bit of a factor, even if he's on the healthier side. It's still there. That's a injury that has probably a high chance of getting hurt further. And I mean, the Eagles pass rush is no joke. Hassan Reddick. I mean, Josh Sweat, is he? He might not be healthy. I'm not sure. But even on the inside, Fletcher Cox. This is a fearsome defensive line that can really cause Patrick Mahomes to feel some pressure, maybe make a move around a bit.
Yeah, even if he's healthy. The thing with the high ankle sprain, I'll leave this because I'm not a doctor, so I'll leave this after this. It's anybody who has it and plays will tell you they're good for the first half usually. It's the second half when it starts barking, and that's when you start seeing it. But if there's one who can overcome it, you would think it would be Mahomes, who won the Most Valuable Player award last night. And the other thing about that, which I find fascinating, is that statistically, the quarterback in the National Football League who threw the most touchdowns out of the pocket was Patrick Mahomes. So we think of him as this, guy who loves to just kind of wander out on the side and create, wild passes. But at the end of the day, he also can play what we used to call, traditional offense, which does benefit him and, of course, benefits the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's funny in that AFC Championship game, it almost seems like the injury worked to his advantage a little bit because
Mhm.
it's very clear that they changed up the game plan to have him get the ball out quicker. And I don't think the Bengals were prepared for that. He was
Mhm.
getting the ball out very quick, and there was nothing they could do to
Right.
stop their offense in that game.
Well, I mean, again, that's an Andy Reid trademark all the way going back to when he was in Philadelphia. So, you go, it's the old saying, you dance with the one that brung you. Well, that's the one that brought him there. I would say, I mean, Jalen Hurts in the Philadelphia offense proved that they can put points on the board too. And I think part of this Super Bowl is not that Jalen Hurts needs this game to win to get vindicated, but I do think that the reason the game is so tight odds wise is because Jalen Hurts is being respected by the betting public for his ability to actually play a high level quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if he stayed healthy all year, aside from those two, the couple games at the end of the year, he would have received a good few more MVP votes. I mean, the guy's been stellar all year, has really shut people up about his ability to throw. We all know he could run,
Right.
but people were questioning his passing, and seems to have really progressed in that area. I know he had a rough game against San Francisco, so I'm interested to see how Steve Spagnuolo will dial up his defense to kind of see if he can limit Jalen Hurts. But I mean, he's the new age quarterback, right? He can hurt you on the ground or in the air.
The RPO, run pass option. That's the new offense. Went from the West Coast offense to the RPO. Let's talk about wagering, because that's a lot of people will be here asking. $16 billion, ladies and gentlemen, legally bet so far on Super Bowl 57. That is, as each state rolls out more and more opportunities to gamble, there are more and more ways to gamble. And we here want to strive, as we always do, A, bet responsibly. B, they call it gambling for a reason. There are no sure things. And our gambling expert, Amedeus, I'm going to turn it over to you for your knowledge and understanding of wise betting.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about you gotta drown out all the outside noise. That's the most important thing, because the storylines they mean nothing when it comes down to it. It's all going to be settled on the field. So yeah, obviously, always gamble responsibly. You shouldn't be betting on this game if you can't afford to lose your bet. Now, that being said, I noticed they always they set this game up. It's always a close one with the odds. It's always about a 1 point favorite or so. And something that I've noticed is that the favorite has won it, I think, the last 2 years now. So because the Bengals were the dog last year and they lost. And then 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure Kansas City was the dog against the Buccaneers and they won. So
Garrett would know.
I would. That's right.
Yeah. And I even remember saying to myself, I was shocked. I was like, how are the Bucs a 2 point favorite in that game? And, sure enough, they won. So this is one where, I would probably side with the Eagles here just because they're the slight favorite. And it seems to be that the last few years have gone that way. Also, the Eagles are just overall, they're so good with their offense and their defense. And Kansas City is dealing with so many injuries right now. Obviously, there's the injury to Patrick Mahomes, but they don't have a solid group of wide receivers. These guys are banged up, and even when they're there, it's a lot of their first seasons on the team because they just went out and grabbed anybody they could after Tyreek Hill left. They're like, okay, we'll replace one massive talent with as many smaller talents as we can.
Let's get 6 slot receivers.
Yeah, right? They go get Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster. So they got all these guys, right? And even then they're banged up. But yeah, I think when
they all play the same position. They all play inside the numbers. There's not a guy there. I mean, they run Juju Schuster out of out there. But Juju Schuster's not a 4-2, wide receiver.
Yeah, and Kelsey still does more than all of them. So.
Well, yeah, he's the break glass save building.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely the guy that you're going to go to, and who wouldn't? Kelsey on a linebacker is a joke. Kelsey on a safety is a joke.
He's just a mismatch all around.
Yeah, there's nowhere you cover him. He can't be covered. So from that standpoint, he's the safety valve. And they're also, look, one of the things, again, it's a trademark of an Andy Reid team. The backs catch balls, and they're part of the offense. So anybody, I'm joking, but pretty much everybody on the Kansas City Chiefs, except for the center, can catch passes, and they seem to do it that way. And if you look at it, Mahomes' spray chart, right, on quarterbacking, he's probably got 6 receivers that he targets more than 4 times. That's a lot of different spreading the ball around. And but again, the problem, as we said, can you go deep? Well, you possibly could, but it's going to be in the middle of the field, and that's never where you want to go with the deep ball.
Amadeus, quick question for you in regards to the betting. Or you cited last couple of years the favorites have won. Do you think there's any merit behind someone thinking, oh, the favorites the last 2 years also happen to be the home team, because the last 2 Super Bowls were won by the home team?
I didn't think about that because that's been such a recent thing. I think Tampa Bay was the first ever. And even I remember a few years ago, my Cardinals almost made it when it was at State Farm Arena. Yeah, good old home where they almost made it with Carson Palmer. My God, those days, hated those days. But
that's okay. The Bears made it to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Yeah, that was Garrett. That was when we had Bruce. That was when Bruce was over with us. Yeah. But that's actually, it's a very good point to make. Is that it was at home, and now I guess you could say Kansas City is at home because you got Mr. State Farm playing at State Farm Arena. So,
that's not the kind of insurance he's going to need come Saturday or Sunday.
But I will say that's a very, very good point to make. I still think, though, also, it's partly, the books are so sharp. They probably take all that into account. But I still would say the Eagles, because I think one of the big things with this game is the running game. As you mentioned, Jalen Hurts is he's the new age quarterback with the running game and the passing. But, even though the Eagles don't have a specific guy, they have a few solid running backs, and they have a very good running game by committee. The Kansas City Chiefs, on the other hand, as Jim Williams mentioned, everybody's a pass catching back, but can you run between the tackles? And that's something I think Kansas City has lacked for quite a few years now.
Yeah. No, that's why they catch. They can't run.
And they're only, somewhat who was starting to become a good running back, Clive Edwards-Helaire. He got injured. So now, they've been running Isaiah Pacheco into the ground, but it's still his first season in the NFL, right? So you can't expect him to come on the big stage here and just, I'm going to run between the tackles 200 yards today, destroy the Eagles defense. Like it's not going to happen. So,
Saquon Barkley, who's legitimately the best running back at this time around in the National Football Conference, at least. He couldn't do it twice. So, if you can't get Saquon out there, you're not going to get any of the Kansas City backs out there.
Great point.
Now, let me ask you this about Amedeus. The game's played in a dome. Neither of these teams are dome teams. Does that affect the betting?
I don't think it affects the betting because I think it's more so when a dome team goes into an outside environment because they're not used to playing in the elements. But when if a team that's used to playing in the snow and stuff goes to play inside, it's just it's like playing normal, right? That's like saying when a team that plays in the hot goes to a cold area, they're not used to it. They got to bring all these heaters and stuff. But when it's the other way around, you don't say, oh, well, they're used to playing in the cold. No, because anybody can play in the warm, right? It's like it's more comfortable. So I would think playing in a dome is more of a comfort thing for both teams, right? It's like there's no wind, there's no real elements you're exposed to, so it's kind of just like you're playing a controlled game versus having to take into account all these other things. Like the kicker has to take into account the wind swirls and things like that. Obviously, you know, passes can go too high on windy days and things like that. So yeah, I would say being indoor probably benefits both teams more.
Mm-hmm. You know, going back to my early days, the Buccaneers used to play in the Central Division. So we would go to Green Bay in December. We would go to Chicago in December. We would go to Minnesota in December. And I think I still am sure that there are limbs that fell off of me during that time from being frozen to death. The Buccaneers didn't win a game. Now this is also with the Dolphins. Okay, the Dolphins and the Buccaneers did not win a game when the temperature was below 40 degrees for 6 years.
That's a crazy stat.
That's a crazy stat.
They're used to that humidity. That's what it is.
I mean, look, dude, when you get on the plane and it's 67 degrees, okay, and you get off the plane and it's 7 degrees, I don't care who, talks about it. It has an effect on the players. You don't get a chance to acclimate yourself to it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I really think you got to be a certain breed to play in the cold, because there's people up here. I live in Canada, and there's people up here who hate. They find out it's going to be like -20 next week, and they're like, "Oh, God," and I'm like, "Bring it on! Give me the cold, all right? So let me go out there. I want to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when I go outside. Let's go."
Let's go. Let's rock. Let's roll.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I will say about the indoor stadium is I think the noise is a bigger factor.
It can be. It can be. I think that because the Super Bowl is a generic thing where you've got a lot of corporate people and a lot of that, it's not as raucous as it would be if you were. I will say the last big dome building, right? That it's the Super Bowl. The Super Dome is not loud, even though. But the old stadium in Seattle, the old Kingdom, man, that place, you thought the roof was coming down. It actually did one time, but that had nothing to do with it.
It actually did.
That part went south for the winter, but
it's not fan caused, but
no, it
probably after so many vibrations from the noise, loosened it,
and it didn't have anything to do with. Thank God it didn't hit anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thankfully, when nobody was in the arena, decide, okay, now the stadium. Now I'm gonna come down.
Now I'm coming down. So yeah, the new domes seem to be much more suited for these kind of things.
Yeah. Definitely, though. I agree. Like, you'd have to take into account how many fans from each team would be there for the noise to play a real factor. Yeah. And I mean, I guess with the last two Super Bowls, the home team being there, you're more likely to get home fans. This one is like, Kansas City's in the Midwest and Philadelphia is like up east here, northeast, and Arizona's like down in the Southwest almost. So it's like, that's a lot of traveling.
It's almost in California. Yes,
that's what I mean. Is there's a lot of traveling for either fan to show up.
The other part to that, you mentioned something. If LA gets to practice, but they practice in their own facilities, just like the Bucs practice in one Buck place for the Super Bowl. You sleep in your own bed. You drive to the game. It's like a home game.
Yeah.
And Super Bowls. Every player I've ever spoken to or interviewed who's played in a Super Bowl, the first thing they tell me is when you get to the stadium, okay, and you start to begin to understand where you are, okay, it's a Super Bowl. It's, this is it. This is what you wanted. This is what you worked for, your entire career to get there, right?
Do I really
you get into the locker room. It's not your locker room. It's, it's a locker room. And a lot of guys, and we're talking about these are the elite athletes. These are guys who always play on the big stage, right? I mean, they're there and they play on the big stage. I can't tell you how many guys who played in that game have said to me after the first quarter, right? They're literally hyperventilating because they're concerned, and it happens, is they expend so much energy in that first quarter that by the second quarter they start to get tired. And so you have to, in your mind, realize, okay, I need to be able to pace myself and understand what's going on here and compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
Because this is, the thing is, those guys, because of traffic, okay, are going to have to, and by the way, for those of you heading to Glendale, my suggestion is take a lot of money because Glendale is not close to Phoenix, okay? It's about 25, 30 miles outside of Phoenix. So your cab ride, pick an Uber, and then go from there because it's a long cab ride. But anyway, so you take the buses from Phoenix out to Glendale, right? They're going to be in that building for 4 hours or 5 hours before the game even starts. So, and you're not going to, they get out on the field to do warm-ups, but that still is 2 hours before kick. That's the first time they're going to be on that field. Now, in the case of both Kansas City and Philadelphia, they have played indoors, so that's not a problem. And they've, at one point in time, well, probably more the Eagles than Kansas City, has actually even played in Glendale. So, the turf and all that's not going to be a problem. But it's even in the dome, site issues, what's your background when you're looking up, right? Because you're not looking in the sun. So what is it? Is it more fans? Are you looking into a bunch of white shirts and all that stuff? What are you looking into? So it really becomes, the dome actually in some regards becomes a little more difficult for teams that are used to playing outdoors, not necessarily because the turf is the turf, right? But because of the background that you're looking into. It may even be a bank of lights. So, you have to, that part of it is something you need to get used to. But that's not something that takes a long time to get used to. It just takes some time to get used to. So, and the lack of wind is, in some regards, a good thing. But if you're a kicker, then you're saying, I really wouldn't mind a little bit of a breeze behind me here to get this thing out of there. And it's going to go. But there's no humidity, so you don't have to worry about that. That's not a bad thing. So it's crazy, but it's definitely something that's going to be fun. Hey, I'm going to run some prop bets by you and see if you A, would take them. B, if you did, what would you do with it? So let's play that for a minute.
All right, let's see.
All right, my first one: Travis Kelce receptions over 7.5. That's a plus 105.
Yeah, seven and a half.
And we just mentioned that Patrick Mahomes loves to go, to his his tight end, Mr. Kelce.
Yeah, he really does. And 7.5. That's a high number. I mean, he is his favorite guy, and obviously, he's going to get the ball. I would take the chance on the over just because, we know they don't have much of a running game, and their wide receivers are obviously banged up. But see, the 7.5, that's right on. I would prefer to have it a little lower if you can get a 6.
Well, let me throw this out to you. Here's his last 5 games: 7 for 78 and a touch, 14 for 98 and 2, 10 for 95 and a touch, 8 for 96 and a touch, 5 for 108 and a touch, 10 for 133, 13 for 118 and 2 touchdowns, 8 for 109 and a touch, and then 6 for 43 yards and a touch.
Yeah, see, he hovers right around that number, and seven's not going to get you to the golden land. So, it's a tough one because he's going to be featured a lot, but you'd also got to think that's going to be the Eagles' number one priority is trying to take Travis Kelce away. But I think the Eagles, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think the Eagles have actually struggled more against tight ends this year. So if that's the case, then yeah, I would take the over in this game, but I'd have to check how the Eagles are against tight ends first. But if the Eagles are better, then I would probably go under because he's going to be their top priority to stop. Because if
And
you can
there's
stop
you're right. So
Kelce,
they figured Kelce. They'll let they'll let Juju Schuster run from now to they'll go one-on-one with Juju Schuster all day long. They're not going to go one-on-one with Travis Kelce.
yeah, and when you got no run game, hobbled Mahomes, and now you've taken away Kelce, the Kansas City offense becomes very one-dimensional in that sense, and they're gonna have a tough time moving the ball. So I would need to see how the Eagles are against tight ends, but yeah, I would take the under actually on that one.
Garrett, did the Bucs play the Eagles this year? Didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, they did.
played-
Wait, did they? I don't think. No, they didn't. They played them last year in the playoffs.
Okay, last year, right? I
Yeah.
knew it was. I couldn't remember. I don't have the schedule in front. The question is, what do you think about Kelce getting more than 7 touches, targets? I guess I would say this time around. Is that a good bet?
7 targets.
No, 7 catches. I'm sorry.
7 catches. Okay. I would say I always think like anything around 6 or 7 for Travis Kelce is probably. I like to think it's a safe bet. I think, like we were saying earlier, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's like you can't throw to them too many times each because I mean they're all pretty one dimension receivers. Travis Kelce offers a mismatch on the Eagles linebackers, on the Eagles safeties, even though they're all very good. I think he might be the best offensive player on the field aside from Patrick Mahomes whenever he's out there, on both sides probably. And I think that in any situation they're just going to try and feed him.
Let's go down the list. Next up, Patrick Mahomes rushing under. This is an under 18.5 yards, and that's minus 110 on the betting sheet if you happen to be dealing with FanDuel.
Yeah, so I think the under is actually a pretty decent play for that one because obviously we know Mahomes is injured. I think he's going to avoid trying to use his legs. There might be the odd time where he tries to run for a first down, but I think any yards any big yards he picks up that way, he'll probably slide before he gets too far because he wants to avoid further injury. Obviously, you don't want to get taken out in one of the biggest games of your career. But at the same time, I think anything, even if he does get like 5-10 yards here and there to get a first down and run out of bounds, I think that can be mitigated by any sacks he takes as well with his mobile troubles. So I could see that one going under 18.5 for sure.
Just as an added bit of information here, he went under this number 7 times this season. And that was when he was healthy.
That was with no injuries.
Right.
And I just looked. He had 8 yards 2 weeks ago against the Bengals, and that's obviously with that injury also. So, like you said, Jim, I think they're just going to try and get the ball out quick and try and keep him clean. So I think that's an under.
Okay. How about this one? And this is okay. We're gonna be flipping back and forth between the crazy and the good.
I was gonna say, is this the halftime show? I can tell.
Yeah,
I can tell by your reaction.
We have not gotten
Is
there.
this gonna be like Rihanna twerking or something?
Right. We haven't gotten there yet. This one is no touchbacks on the opening kickoff, plus 130.
That's such like a 50. That's like betting is the coin flip going to be heads or tails? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
really, I think you need a little inside knowledge on what the team is going to do.
All right, I'll give you some inside knowledge. Okay. During the regular season, both teams were almost exactly around 65% of the time they kicked the ball off, it was a touchback.
Yeah, and I was going to lean more to yes, there would be a touchback just because of the fact that, a lot of these guys, more so for the Eagles, because obviously the Chiefs were here 2 years ago, but, not everybody was on that team 2 years ago. So it's going to be a lot of guys that, sometimes this is their first time, might be their only chance in the Super Bowl. I think the coaches try to tell the players, don't run it out on the first drive. The last thing we need is like a muffed kick to start the game off. Or, we're starting from the 5-yard line. Like, you don't want to start one of the biggest games of your career with that handicap already. Like, oh, I got to start from the 5-yard line because we ran it out and the guy ran horizontal the whole time from the end zone. Or, he looked up and it hit his helmet and now we don't even have the ball, right? So I think the coaches are going to be like, just call a fair catch. Okay. Let's just get the offense on the field and start the game off right. We've seen in the college this year and in the playoffs already how a bad start can lead to just destruction the rest of the game. Just take a look at Michigan. Okay. Don't be Michigan. Let's just go out there and, get the offense on the field, please. Okay. Call the fair catch and get the offense on the field.
One quick note. I just got a text. The roof is expected to be open. So that will allow for some limited, but some wind.
Okay, so a bit of a factor then.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have that from my buddy Julie Donaldson. Thank you, JD, who is covering the game out in Phoenix. So
maybe if the wind is whipping, there might not be a touchback. Who knows? The wind will keep it out.
You never know. Okay. We got Mahomes passing under 294.5 yards. That's a minus 115. At first glance, going under Mahomes makes me feel good and easy, but up against the Eagles pass rush, and that ankle, I don't know. I think he's going to have to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, I'd probably take the over on that one just because, as we've mentioned, they don't have much of a running game and you got hobbled Mahomes. So, he wants to get the ball out quick and it's going to be a lot of passing for him. It might not be a lot of passing downfield, but at the end of the day, I think there's not really besides Pacheco, you don't have a strong guy to hand the ball off to. So it's going to be, it's going to be either quick passes or just, dink and dunks. And yeah, I think he'll probably get over, but it all depends too if you're expecting a higher scoring game between these two. If you're expecting a higher scoring game, then yeah, I would take the over. But if you think defenses are going to dominate here, then he probably won't reach that number. But I think, as good as the Eagles defense has been this year, I think obviously it's still going to be tough to stop this Chiefs offense. And I could see them both scoring over 20, maybe even 30 points in this game. So I would lean more to the over with the Mahomes passing yards.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we talked about earlier, the Chiefs are pass first, and I could honestly see the running back, specifically Jerick McKinnon, having a pretty big receiving day. I won't lie. I could see them putting him on some angle routes, just getting him in space and letting him catch and run.
The next one is one which I know everybody can't wait for, and that is, will it be blue Gatorade? That's plus 400 on it.
The Gatorade color.
Now, orange has dominated blue in the last 3 Super Bowls. So, orange is the favorite, but do you go blue instead of orange?
I'd have to go back and analyze the tape of previous games, see each team's preferences.
Well, see, you have something here, Amedeus. Both Garrett and I went to the home of Gatorade.
That's right.
So we have a bit of a inside knowledge, inside track of what they're going to do with Gatorade. But blue or orange, I'm going to go with orange personally. But that's just me.
I'd say orange.
Yeah, that's one where, like, again, it's like the heads or tails coin flip to me. So that's one where I'm with Garrett. I'd have to go look and see what are these guys like. What's Mahomes' favorite
preference?
Yeah, what's your favorite color, Mahomes? Okay, like I need to go stalk him at a Costco or something and see what pack he's picking. But no. Yeah, I mean, if orange has been cashing, you'd be inclined to go with orange. But I feel like that's something you'd have to know. Like when I cashed what the first song of the halftime was going to be, that was something that was leaked. That was something I had a bit of knowledge on. I didn't just pull the song out of my ass and be like, The Weeknd is going to sing this one because it's great, right?
I was like, thinking about it, the Chiefs roster is similar enough to their last Super Bowl. You could probably go back to when they won that and see what got dumped. And if you think they're going to win, make an educated guess on what Gatorade they're going to have.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And then the Eagles, though, for the Eagles, like there's no green Gatorade. Yeah. You would think they would want.
Well, the early Gatorade actually was greenish.
That was it. Then they turned it to yellow.
And then it went yellow, and then
it was lemon lime, and now it's just lemon.
And in all honesty, I prefer the clear, but that's just me. The last time, by the way, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, and Doug Peterson got splashed with Gatorade. It was yellow.
I was going to say that because it's the closest to green, but
because they don't make green Gatorade, and they don't. I mean, they basically only make 3 or 4 colors, so it's not like you have a lot to pick from.
This is the real analysis here. Forget the game.
I know we've spent more time on the Gatorade than we did on running. How about Tony receiving under 23.5 yards?
Under
23.5. That's a minus 110.
Man, Tony's always hard because obviously I was watching him at Florida, and then in New York. I mean, he's really hit or miss, but if he can get the ball, there's a chance he takes it 23.5 yards in a single play.
Garrett, I was going to say the same thing. I have seen Tony. You can drop like a 5-6 yard pass, and 40 yards later you're looking for it.
Yeah.
You can also drop a 5 or 4 yard pass, and he'll drop it.
Or he'll go back 3 yards.
What the hell just happened? I mean, my grandmother could have made that catch. There was no one around him, and he drops it. So focus is a key with Mr. Tony. There's no.
If he can catch it and go forward, he's pretty lethal. But
yeah, that's true. Going forward is the key.
Yeah. It's tough. I'd probably say the under, but it's a tough one because he's so elusive.
Okay, we have 2 more on Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce scores a touchdown anytime.
Well, I think you got to take that. How is that not like minus 170?
It's minus 125.
Okay.
I think we all agree. That's about as difficult as saying that the sky is blue. Not the Gatorade, but the sky. Travis Kelce, let's go one more Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce over 77.5 yards, and that's a minus 120. By the way, Travis Kelce scoring a touchdown anytime right now is of all the prop bets, is the number 1 prop bet.
Wow. That makes sense, though.
Yeah, because he doesn't even need to have a big game to score a touchdown. All you need is the big body when you get down to the 5-yard zone, right? Like he can.
And they just do that little flip play when he's coming up the middle.
Right.
The shovel pass into the line. Yeah. Oh my God. They invented that. And then the funny thing is other people try to use it and then the ball just goes everywhere.
Well, it's because you're not looking for it. Okay. You have to, the way that Kansas City does it, they practice it. It is part of their system.
They've perfected it. Yeah. That was like a play Mahomes brought to Reed and was like, we need this in there. Let's go.
Hey, Garrett, that was like Tim Tebow's jump pass.
That's right. Yeah. They're like, oh, he might run it. Nope.
Nope. Let me just throw it like I'm taking a jump shot.
Coach, I came up with this one in the shower. What do you think?
Right. I've seen other teams try it, and and the receiver get freaked out. It's like
they like fall down as they're going to catch it.
Right? It's like they look at it looks like a punt. So yeah. Okay, let's go defense for a minute. Hassan Reddick gets a sack. It's the first sack, I'm sorry, of the game.
The first.
That's a plus 400. And Patrick Mahomes basically has stopped taking sacks over the second half of the season. That's why this is a bit tricky. The 62% of the Eagles' 70 sacks this year came on a 4- and 5-man rushes. So basically, if they're blitzing, that's when Reddick gets one-on-one. And when Reddick gets one-on-one, usually that means he's going to get somebody. So you got Mahomes with limited but still decent mobility versus Hassan Reddick. But, the one thing that they've been able to do, Philadelphia's been able to do this year, has been get Reddick in one-on-one situations a lot. And so I don't know, guys. If there's going to be the first sack,
I definitely think he gets a sack. Whether it's the first one is tough.
It is. Yeah. That's why they're calling it betting.
I'd say no on the first sack, just because I loved this guy when he was at the Cardinals, but
now you hate him.
Yeah, now I hate him for leaving, just like I hate everybody else. Patrick Peterson, you name it, I hate him. I hate them all. But yeah, I love this guy, but yeah, the first sack, I agree with Garrett. He's probably going to get a sack. The first sack is too tough to tell. Also, if Mahomes is going to be getting the ball out quicker because of his injury, it's going to be a lot harder for Reddick to get there to sack him. So I think that drops his chances a little bit. So yeah, I don't see much value in the first sack, just because it's so hard to tell. It could be Fletcher Cox who just comes through the line and
yeah,
while Mahomes is running back, right? It could be play action and he just gets tackled, just bulldozes through 3 guys and goes right at him. So
I do think there's going to be times when Philadelphia goes zero coverage and just in the house.
You're probably right. I mean, Jonathan Gann is a very aggressive defensive coordinator, so I could definitely see that happening. They send one of their corners on a blitz, or maybe Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on a blitz, or just backfield, and
basically say, okay, I can get to you faster. You can get the ball to Juju Schuster.
True.
How about Pacheco over 48.5 yards? That's a minus 110.
I'm gonna go with the under on that one, just because I don't think like we've talked about, they're a pass first offense. I don't think Pacheco is the type to, consistently run through the tackles for 60 minutes a game. And as Garrett mentioned before, you still got Jerick McKinnon in there, who's going to get a lot of pass catching work. So yeah, he's gonna eat into Pacheco's carries, and he's not going to be the choice when they want to go, pass catching down. He's not going to be the guy out there. So yeah, I'd probably go with the under for Pacheco.
One quick note on that: 9 of the last 11 games, he's gone over that number. But then again, he hasn't been against the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
To be fair, I've watched a lot of him, and it's in garbage time. He's gotten a lot of his yards. They threw him when Clive Edwards-Helaire was playing still. They would throw Pacheco in at the end, and he would get 100 yards on the last play because they're up by 20 points, and the other team stopped trying.
All right, other. Oh, go ahead, Garrett.
I was just going to say, the Eagles' defensive line is disgusting. We've talked about Hassan Reddick. You got Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. You got the biggest man on earth, Jordan Davis, sitting on your bench. Come on now.
Well, yeah, and at the same time, you've got those backers and you've got the DBs. I mean, so pick your poison.
Truly a 3-level threat.
Pacheco's tiny too. Watching him try to slip through, maybe he gets slipped by Fletcher Cox, but other than that, Fletcher Cox is gonna eat him.
Well, I'd grease myself if I was Check. I would say
need that extra elusiveness, just slip between.
Right, kind of ease my way through.
You know who was like that? I say this because I'm a Cardinals fan, but Larry Fitzgerald was like that. Every time that guy would catch a ball, he would slip 3 tackles. And I was always wondering if he was coating his jersey in something.
No, that was actually athleticism. I mean, that guy could ball. I mean, there's no question about that. He could definitely ball.
He's another one I hate. No. Larry's the greatest. He's mad respect for Larry.
Nice guy. Jeez,
I know he's a player with a lot of class. I really respect Larry Fitzgerald. He's got a lot of class.
He's a good dude. All right. Speaking of the other running back in Kansas City, McKinnon gets the first touchdown, and that's a plus 1,100.
Wow.
Now, in fairness, when Andy has decided to run the ball, usually for touchdowns, McKinnon gets the ball.
He's also that pass catching threat.
Yeah, he is. 100%.
Yeah.
The first is always tripping me up.
Yeah, it's always the first, just because you never know what's gonna happen.
Let me throw you way back one. Okay. Super Bowl. It was in where was it? I think it was New Orleans, where the Bears played, and that was the game where the first person to score a touchdown, Walter Payton, right? It had to be. And of course, the first touchdown was Refrigerator Perry. So you're like, what? I didn't even see it. They didn't run this play all year long. They get to the Super Bowl and Refrigerator Perry takes it in from 1 yard out. And your all world running back is standing back there, just watching. So you're right. Anytime you're looking at first, God knows what might happen. It's obviously not the obvious.
Yeah, because the Chiefs could get down. The Chiefs could get down to the 5 yard line on the first drive,
right?
And that could be the shovel pass to Kelsey, the slant pass to Kelsey. That could be McKinnon out in the flat just runs to the pylon. So
knowing Andy Reid, it could be a trick play to Justin Watson.
It could be the Philly special.
That'd be actually so funny.
To use it against them.
Yeah.
It could be to a tackle.
Yep.
You never know. It's just crazy. Okay. Devontae Smith over 4.5 receptions, minus 155. And there's a lot of juice on this one. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but
I'd say over.
Well, he's gone over that number twice since week 10. I'm sorry, every game, but no. He's gone over it every game but 2 times since week 10.
What was the number again?
What was the number's 4.5 receptions.
Oh, okay.
The betting line is minus 155.
Yeah, I don't like that juice, but he probably goes over just because AJ Brown is getting covered more. He's becoming the top priority for defenses, and it's one thing. It's one thing we're going to take away your best player, but you have the same guy who did it last year on the other side, and all you did was you just brought in another version of him to take over the number 1 role.
Right.
But you still have Devontae Smith, who you drafted, who was that good last year. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things where they're going to try to get A.J. Brown the ball first. But if the Chiefs can take Brown away, all of a sudden Devontae Smith is the next go-to guy. So I think absolutely you could probably get 5 catches.
All right, let's look at this one. This is it's an interesting one, and that is Jalen Hurts over 1.5 for passing touchdowns, and that's a plus 100.
Okay, Jalen Hurts over 1.5
So
touchdowns
basically, they're saying 2 touchdowns,
for passing touchdowns, right?
passing touchdowns, not a run. I'd
Um,
take it if it was a run, but I'm not taking that.
yeah, I just want to check Hurts here. Like, he didn't have any passing touchdowns against the 49ers, and they scored 31 points in that game. He had 2 against the Giants. They still scored 38 in that game. So this is a team that loves to run the ball. They really do love to run the ball. And I think that's probably why it's so low at 1.5, is because they know if they get close enough, Hurts will try to run it in himself, or they'll try to run the ball with somebody, whether it's, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, who's been killing it over the last few weeks. So it's that was a really tough one for me. I might just stay off. I don't think I would want to bet the over or the under in that one.
Yeah, I think I agree with Amadeus. I mean, that's one of those lines where you're like, ooh, you could see it happening because, like we said, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, you got Dallas Goedert. But this is a team that is very, very fond of the run, and they have some good tools to run them really well. So it really could go either way.
Let me get to the most important prop bets. Coin flip. Heads
Tails.
-105, tails -105.
Tails never fails. Next.
All right. Well, there you go.
No, I don't know, Garrett. What do you think? Is there? I
don't know. Let me flip a coin. I'll say heads to be different.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, tails is always what the players pick. I'm more of a heads guy myself, but like tails, I don't know. The players always pick tails. It always seems to be tails.
Okay. Now, for something very important. What will be the first mention during the Super Bowl MVP speech? Okay. What topic will be the first thing mentioned during the Super Bowl MVP speech?
I want to thank
Top
God.
of the list is team and / teammates. That's your -120. Your next on the list at +325 is city / fans. At +370 is God plus religion. At +690 is family. At +1200 is coaches. And at +2500 is the team owner.
I think I want to thank God.
It's always God. It's always God. There's college basketball coaches who like start every press conference after the game. I'm forgetting which one. It's one of the Big East guys. I forget. He's a really good coach too, but like it's every press conference is like, oh, I just want to thank God. My guys went out there and did such a good job. And it's the same thing. It's always the same thing. So I gotta go with Garrett. It's God. It's gonna be God. It's always
the odds are looking pretty nice there too.
It's always going to be God. Yeah. And even if he doesn't say it first, like it's always in there. He's always going to say, I want to thank God. And then you go down the list. So I totally think it's God.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How about this one? Which chip commercial comes first? Doritos at 130 or Pringles at +100?
I'll go Doritos.
I'll say Doritos.
Well, given the fact that they've actually spent a lot more money than Pringles, I'm pretty sure you got that one.
But we also need to think of like the optimal commercial placement. Like where do they want it? And I like you said, Doritos has the money. They're going to want it up front.
Well, Doritos also have the Manning brothers.
True.
So I'm going to think that's it. Now, which snack company airs the first commercial? M&M's -150, Doritos +150.
I'm gonna say M&M's. You know that they might be unveiling their new mascot. Y'all see that they're getting rid of the M&M characters.
No, I didn't see that, and I would love to hear more when Garrett gets back. What happened to the M&M characters? What are they doing?
Oh, they're too woke for some of the folks out there. So
they're too woke.
Yeah,
the
M&M. We live in a strange country. Gavin and I, Garrett and I, do not have time to explain it to this, but over this next prop bet, maybe we'll be able to do it. And that is which beer gets the first commercial, Budweiser or Heineken.
Budweiser, come on. Budweiser's gonna have like 5 different ones in there anyway. It should be which Budweiser commercial is gonna get shown first.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Definitely not a bad idea. But yeah, it was. We'll see about that. And just because Amedeus wants to talk about his halftime victory of a few years ago.
Yes.
We're going to do halftime here real quick.
Yes, I think Garrett's back, by the way.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I was looking at this other screen trying to pull up some of the stuff.
No problem.
Okay. National anthem. Okay. Wait a minute. Halftime. The halftime. Okay. By the way, Rob Gronkowski tweeted this.
Apparently, FanDuel kick of destiny.
Yeah, but this is what he just tweeted. Apparently, there's going to be a football game at the Rihanna concert, and that's Gronk. I mean, in no uncertain terms.
And, how did FanDuel squeeze their way in for the kick of destiny? Like that time, that halftime is supposed to be all Rihanna time. Like how was that okayed? Oh, sure, you can have 5 minutes of my performance.
It takes a couple of minutes to stage.
That's true.
The field.
Yeah. So
if you just give him that, you basically say you guys got 3 minutes to get this thing done. That shouldn't be a problem.
3 minutes. Get out there, kick it, and leave.
Right. Okay. Here it is. You talked about song. Diamonds is the number one at plus 220. Don't Stop the Music, plus 245. We Found Love, plus 350. Lift Me Up at 450. Believe It at 455. And Where Have You Been at 505.
Where's Umbrella? Come on.
Umbrella is at 645.
Oh.
Work is at.
Oh, I thought it wasn't in the show at all.
I stopped because after a while the numbers, the juice on this got ridiculous. Umbrella is at 645. Works at 800. Hate That I Love You is 1,000. Cheers, which is Drink That, also 1,000. Live Your Life at 1,400. And Bitch Better Have Money at 1,500. I guarantee you, Bitch Better Have Money is not sung by Rihanna at the halftime performance of the Super Bowl.
Well, that's why I was complaining about Umbrella. It's got to be in there. I don't think it'll be first, but it's got to be the one signature line.
Like the signature song. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Don't Stop the Music.
That's what I was saying. That's a good tempo setter.
Yeah.
See, I was more familiar.
Yeah, she's gonna want to come out and blow the place apart.
Mm-hmm.
I was more familiar with The Weeknd's music when he did it.
Yeah.
Like Rihanna, I know a lot of her music, but I don't know the names of the songs. So I'm going to have to go listen to those and then I would be able to make my pick. But I'll side with you guys on Don't Stop the Music. I think Umbrella is going to be in there. Better be in there.
I'm sure it will be.
Okay.
What about Shut Up and Drive? Anybody remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Celebrities being shown during the Super Bowl broadcast. Okay.
That's a thing.
President Biden. Well, first of all, President Biden's not going to be there. But,
don't bet that.
So don't bet that one. Joe Biden will, but the president's not. That's minus 500. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. The president will be interviewed, but that happens within the pregame show. All right. Bradley Cooper at 500. Andy Kardashian is 500. Eric Stone Street 300. Jason Sudeikis is 300. Meek Mill is 300. Paul Rudd is 300. Kevin Hart is 250. Mike Trout's 145. Here's your boy, Larry Fitzgerald. Now, you know what? Larry Fitzgerald might be one of the first guys shown.
Is Miles Teller on there?
Is who?
Miles Teller?
Teller's 110.
Okay.
Matt Damon's 120. Matt Damon. He's not even a. Matt Damon's a New England fan.
Where's Bon Jovi and Robert Kraft?
I feel like Meek Mill could be a safe bet. I think the Eagles
say Meek Mill.
I think the Eagles come out to Dreams and Nightmares anyway. So
big Philly rapper. You know he's involved in that team.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be on the field with them, like hyping them out
during
of
warm-ups for sure.
Exactly.
Coming out of the tunnel, like
Jill Biden is plus 100. Gretzky's plus 100. Rob McElhenney is 120. Rock is 125. Gordon Ramsay, is 125. Now, here's the thing about Gordon Ramsay.
I'd pay to see
Gordon
that.
Ramsay has a show that is going to debut after the Super Bowl on Fox. So I guarantee you we'll see Gordon Ramsay sometime during the game, but whether or not
stay tuned afterwards for Chef Ramsay's new.
They always, every network debuts a show after the Super Bowl. And
thinking about it though, if that's the case, he'll be shown late.
Yeah.
Not first.
John Cena, 125. Wahlberg at 125. Brady at 125. I don't think Brady's even going to be in.
Why would you want to go to the Super Bowl if he's not in?
Well, why would you want to go and not be on the part of the broadcast team and get paid? John Rahm, 150. McElroy, 150. He's in town. Brad Pitt, 175. Michael Phelps, who lives out there, at 200. Pete Davidson at 200. Steve Nash at 200. Will Smith at 200. Who just slapped somebody. Tina Fey at 250. What the heck? Tina Fey? That's an odd one. Affleck at 300. Ben, not the duck. DiCaprio, 400. Pink, 400. Kanye, 400.
Oh, it's not going to be Kanye. It's
Donald
not
Trump.
going to be. It's not going to be
Donald
Ye.
Trump at 600.
The books have that wrong. There is no Kanye. How can you bet on Kanye?
Yeah.
There is no Kanye. It's Ye.
Oh, my apologies. Yes.
That you betting on the wrong person. Have you lose on a technicality?
If I were the type of person to bet on celebrity show it showed I'd put money on either Meek Mill or Mike Trout personally.
Yeah, I agree with Meek Mill just because he's a huge Philly rapper, and you know that he's going to be on the field with the Eagles doing something with them coming out of the tunnel as they come.
I think they've ran out to his songs "Dreams and Nightmares" every home game.
I think you're right. And after the show in Philly has been DJ Jazzy Jeff, an old school Philly boy. So. You got that. All right. So now that we've broken down all this important stuff, we're at that point in time, gentlemen. Final answer on score and who wins Super Bowl 57. Who wants to go first, or shall we have a coin flip?
I'll go.
Okay, go for it, Gary.
So I'm gonna just start with the winner. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think that defense is going to be a lot for Kansas City with their limited weapons, because you really only have Travis Kelce, if we're being honest, with contributions from everyone else. And despite Patrick Mahomes being the greatest quarterback in the league right now, he will not be able to single-handedly overcome that Philly defense, which I just think is outstanding. Score, I think it's still going to be relatively close. I don't think the Eagles are going to run away with it or anything, and I think Kansas City is going to do a good job of keeping it close. I'm going to say 27-21 Eagles.
Okay. Amedeus.
I'm going to go 34-31 Eagles.
34-31. Okay. Well, I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm going to go Eagles, and I'm going to go 24-17. I'm going to stay low.
That's a Bucks game right there. That's a Bucks game this season.
That's a high-scoring Bucks game.
That's a high-scoring Bucks game. Well, no, they'd be the 17.
That's true. That's true. Real quick, since we have you, Garrett, the post-Tom Brady era of the Buccaneers, do they rebuild or do they totally tear it down and start over again?
They're going to try and retool. Kyle Trask will, I think, be the starting quarterback next year. Whether or not that's a good idea, we don't know yet. Probably not. But I think they're going to try their best to retool. I think the offensive coordinator hire is going to be a huge deal whenever that happens, because Trask has reportedly not been really great in that old system, and he's going to be having to relearn a whole new playbook when he's in line to become the starter. So I think it's going to be a rough year, even though their attempts to stay relevant are going to be happening. I don't think it's going to be very good next year.
And one last thing, since we share the Gators, what's it going to be like at the Swamp this year?
Oh, the Swamp's always going to be rocking. Don't know if the games will be great. I'm not very confident with the quarterback situation right now in Florida, in Gainesville, but Swamp will always be electric.
That part I'm sure of. I was hoping that we knew what was going to happen on the field.
I'm not confident. That's just my.
Are we a Billy Napier fan, or is he still got to prove to me?
I think I'm more so on the optimistic side. I have a lot of faith in what he's doing. I just think he's got to get a quarterback in there. I think if Anthony Richardson stayed another year, I would have been way more confident going into this year. But obviously, he's declared for the draft, and they have Graham Mertz, the transfer from Wisconsin, who has not been impressive. So I think give him maybe another 2 years, and we'll start seeing a bit more consistency from that team, because I am a believer in that culture building he's doing, and then hopefully he can build the team the right way too.
Okay. Amedeus, any final thoughts before we move on out of here on our Super Bowl special Friday?
Yeah, just don't listen to Brandon Ayuk when he tells you to get everything you own in cash and put it on the Chiefs to win. I don't know where the hell that came from, but someone's going to do it. So I'm telling people, don't listen to Brandon Ayuk. That was very irresponsible for someone in his position to say.
He's just saying that because he lost to the Eagles.
That's what I don't get, is he lost to the Eagles, and then he was like, I'm so confident the NFL has the Chiefs fixed in this game. You go sell your car and house.
Hey, he's leaking the script. He's leaking the script.
That's what I mean. It's like the motivation to say that, it's just perplexing to me, and I don't understand it. So I'm going out there and I'm telling people, because I know some idiot's actually going to do it and blame Brandon Ayuk. Don't sell your things and put it on the Chiefs.
What do you think? Mattress Max is going to do it down in Houston?
Oh,
you know, I totally called it after he placed his bet on the Cowboys. I said the Cowboys are going to lose to the 49ers this week, and then you're not going to hear about Mattress Mac until the day of the Super Bowl when he places his $3 million bet, because he doesn't want to lose again on the road there. Yep. Haven't heard from him yet though. So
no, well, I haven't either. So we'll have to keep an eye out. You know, and it's Allie usually has the radar on Mattress Max. I don't know how she gets it, but Allie usually gets the well, she lives in Houston, so maybe that's, I mean, she lives in Vegas, she's from Houston, so maybe that's how it works.
The home connection.
Yeah,
the hometown.
Homeboy connection, but yeah. Okay. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We will be back on Monday. Sean, by the way, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Sean Miller is in Europe and covering soccer. There's a stunner, right?
He's out in the field.
He'll probably find his way to at least 1 or 2 Manchester United games while he's over there. And where else was he? He was going to go to. Was it an Italian game or a Spanish game?
I think he was going to go watch the El Clasico, the Barcelona Real.
Barcelona El Clasico. Yeah.
Well, maybe it wasn't El Clasico, but I think it was Barcelona for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, was it? Did he want to watch the Europa League? I think his United plays Barcelona in the Europa League this Thursday. So
that's where he is. Thursday. That's where he's going to be. Look, if you want to know where he is, come to us. We'll tell you. And also, Also, if you really don't know where to follow him, just look for Manchester United's schedule over the next 2 weeks, and he'll be there one of the days. So he's contractually obligated to do something else, but he'll also be doing covering Man U while he's over there. So if you want to track Sean, that's where you're going to be able to find him. Anybody in his family who needs him probably knows that's where to get him to. Anyway, well, guys, thanks a lot. Be safe, everyone. Enjoy your Super Bowl weekend. It's a lot of fun. Make it fun. Don't do something stupid, as Amedeus just said. Don't bet more than you can lose. And
why would you even say that though, as an NFL? But people are going to be like, "Well, he knows. He has the inside scoop. I'm going to sell my house now."
Let me put it this way: he doesn't know. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me give you a public service. He does not know.
The script is fake. Arian Foster lied.
Right.
It's just that's the thing. It's like somebody will listen to him. Somebody's stupid enough to do that, to think like, oh, he's got to know something.
Well, I mean, it is somewhat irresponsible for someone in his position to make a stupid statement like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if Kevin Hart does it doing an MGM commercial, but oh, wait a minute. No, I got the wrong. He's FanDuel. So yeah, I got the wrong.
Is he FanDuel? He does FanDuel. We don't get those commercials up here.
Yeah, he does.
We get the Kevin Garnett and Jamie Foxx commercials.
Well, yeah, that's BetMGM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's funny. Where he goes around asking different people, who's gonna win. Kevin Hart's more of the. You see him on the. There's no one else but Kevin. So Kevin's sitting on the couch and goes, "You're going to give me free money to bet?" He goes, "Make it hard on me, because that's ridiculous. Let me have a few heart bumps during this sometime." Or he'll come on and say, "This was so exciting. I didn't even my wings are cold. I'm going to charge it to to FanDuel." So yeah, there's a whole bunch of Kevin Hart spots out there, and Kevin Hart being a Philly guy, there's no question he'll be there in Glendale. So as we said, the pregame show probably is going to start about 5 or 6 minutes after we get off the air. So enjoy your build-up. Have a fun time at Super Bowl, boys. Garrett, anytime you want to come back, my friend, let me know. You're always welcome. And Amadeus, thank you, as always, for the sage wisdom, my friend. We will be back on Monday, and maybe, just maybe, we can hook up with Sean out there at over in Europe. So we'll see how that works out. Until then, I'm Jim for Amedeus and for Garrett. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. See you on Monday.